So, to tell about my husband's illness, what happened to him this summer, he's a very private person, and I'm not going to tell all of his business. So, this is probably going to seem vague. But he's normally very strong, both physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. He's just stable. He's not an emotional guy. He's just solid. April the 29th, I think it was, he was outside, been working on lawnmower. It was hot, and he was talking to a customer and had a stroke or a TIA. I don't know which. The emergency room originally considered it a stroke, put him in the hospital, put him on a lot of medicine. I don't know what the term is, but his coordination between his eyes and his movement, like, touch your nose instead of touching his nose, he'd be like struggling and then end up over here or something. That was off, and his ability to find words of common things, that was off. But all of that resolved very quickly. I'd say he was back to himself in 3 days. But during that process, because of that, the hospital put him on some new medicines, and then like 3 days after the ER visit, he went to the local physician, because that's just what you do after you leave the ER. Your doctor wants to see you, and so the doctor took him off of a medication that he had been on long term for years. It was a strong medication, and we did not know then what we know now. But apparently his body had developed a dependency on that medication. Wish we would have known that. Wish the doctor would have known that. Top it off, the medicine that the hospital put him on, his body didn't tolerate it. His liver wouldn't process it. We didn't know any of this for a long time. We didn't know what was going on, but he got extremely, extremely ill. I thought he was going to die. I'm not being dramatic. I can be dramatic. This is not me being dramatic. This is real. I thought he was going to die. He had cold chills, just constantly sweating, like extreme sweating, not all over his body. I mean, he did sweat everywhere, but his head, he was just sweating out of his head, and he had chills. It's 100 degrees, and he's just like freezing to death. He had no energy. He had no appetite. Like, he pretty much even quit talking for a few days. He was just laying there. We took several trips to the ER, because I was like, one day I don't know, his color just looked really off, and like, I go to hug him and he couldn't even like lift up his arms. It was weird. We went to the emergency room several times. It's hard to get an IV started on him, and so it was miserable, painful for him. And they never could find out what's wrong. His liver enzymes were high. They didn't know why. But his vital signs were fine for the most part. He did go through a season of his blood pressure being crazy, come to think of it, and his pulse being really low, like in the 40s. But they were like, we don't know what's going on. Follow up with your doctor. You're stable. During all of this, we're going through a major deal with my daughter. That's a different story that I'll tell sometime probably. But this wasn't a week. This was approximately 2.5 months before it started getting better. He couldn't work. I missed a crazy amount of work. And I didn't have money. And I couldn't pay my electric bill. And school was about to start and I couldn't buy school clothes. But in reality, that was the absolute least of my problems. My problem was that my husband was going to die. And I was just in fix-it mode. Really bad. I was just like, okay, fix it. I had this huge adrenaline rush of, okay, take care of things, you know. We gotta do the laundry, we gotta do the dishes, we gotta, you know, just fix it, do something, you gotta do something. And in my mind, I was thinking, okay, how am I gonna be okay? And I thought, okay, 3 things that I need to do. I need to have $2,000 in I'm thinking what I need to be okay as a single lady whose husband has died. What I need to be okay as a widow. So what I'm thinking of at this time while my husband's in bed, can't hardly sit up. Seriously. I thought I need to have $2,000 in savings so that if something crazy happened, like the refrigerator goes out or the washer goes out or my tire blows up, so that I have some money to pull out from and fix whatever is an emergency. I need to have another vehicle so that if something crazy happens to my car, I still have a way to get back and forth to work while my car is getting fixed. And the third thing was I need to have a gas wall heater installed in our house because we have our furnace or whatever is gas, but the blower for it is electric. So if we lose electric, we lose heat. And as it is right now, if there's an ice storm or something, my husband has a small generator that is enough to run a heater to heat the living room. And so he'll hook that up. But if I was a widow, I can't do that generator thing. I need a wall heater. So yeah, I need money and savings. I need a car and I need a wall heater, and then I'll be okay. This is what I was thinking. My husband, we made a goal for him to get up and walk from the bedroom to the kitchen table at least once or 2 times a day because we were afraid he would lose the ability to walk from laying there so long. Nobody knew what was wrong. Doctor sent him to a liver specialist. All kinds of tests were done. All this time I was being so strong, emotionally strong, because he's the emotional strong one, and normally and he was not during this time. He cried. He was just broken and scared, and I was trying to be strong. Our backyard is full of lawnmowers. Some of them are ours and some of them are customers. And what broke me is one day I'm washing the dishes and I thought, okay, well, before winter hits, I need to put some kind of stabilizer in this gas in all these lawnmowers because I don't know which ones are customers and which ones are ours. And if we let it sit with gas in there, then all winter, then in the spring, the lawnmowers are not going to start. And I broke down and cried. Isn't that weird? That's what broke me, saying in the spring these lawnmowers won't start. And I just started crying, and I went to the bedroom. And he's like, what's wrong with you? And I said, I just have tears that need to come out. And I sat with him and cried for a while. Somebody's coming down this path. So I'm going to get to the point. Anyways, and here's where it gets personal anyway. He ended up finding a new doctor who feels like he knows what the situation was. They took my husband off of the medicine that the emergency room had put him on and started him back on the medicine that the doctor had pulled him off of, and he started improving. During all that terrible time, he lost almost 40 pounds in 2 months. He was eating 5 or 6 crackers a day. He was losing muscle, though. He was real weak. He was really weak. He didn't lose fat, he lost muscle. He was like an old elderly man. And anyways, he's doing a lot better now. The only thing that really remains of it all is he still sweats a lot. And the doctor doesn't know what that's about. He gets cold and he sweats like crazy. Like when he goes to bed, he has to have a towel to wipe the sweat off of his head because he wakes up with his pillow all soaked and everything. And the doctor is like, don't have real clear answers on that, but the doctor is hopeful that with time, whatever that is, it's going to work its way out. So I'm not worried about him dying now. He's almost well. And I'm so glad he's almost well. When school started, he couldn't even drive our son to school. He couldn't get up and fix him something to eat. He was just in bed. One day, I finally had to go back to work, and the older sister who watches my son a lot, she was in bed sick, recovering from a surgery that had failed, and she couldn't help. So I had to babysit by FaceTime from work. It was not the ideal situation, but he would just FaceTime me sometimes, and I'd be like telling him how to microwave a corn dog, and then I'd check back in and be like, okay, what are you watching? And okay.